allergies.
That's
You
year
gotta keep
round.
your face mask on.
Yeah, that's year round.
Well, you gotta keep your face mask on, please. Thank you.
Marla.
I'm not on right now.
We're gonna get a whip.
How are you doing, Deb?
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
I understand. And coming into winter, it doesn't make it easier, does it? Your phones are ringing. I don't know if that matters. I saw you looking this way. Yeah, I think I had a.
Still your explanation. Yeah, it's like what else? I know it's
Crazy.
senior lady.
No, they drove to pay it.
They are calling her 3 to 5 times a day, trying to send her back place.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a total scam, and I know the police have been trying, but it comes from so many numbers.
Oh, I
you
know.
But it's just, she's getting so upset.
Bless her heart.
I know, no, it just makes me so mad. Take advantage of seniors like that. But it's everywhere.
Friday, you sign it.
You want to read it, don't you?
Yes, sir. That's why I didn't read it, just please press. Thank you. Hello.
How are you doing?
Just doing fabulous. Bill, follow the
I was gonna say, don't fall off the stage.
Yes. Do not hurt yourself, please. I tell you what. Got enough of that in my life. Me too. On the news, they were talking about in Alma, that early voting. Can we go there too?
Yep, you are in Carver County.
Okay. Because I knew Ozark had early voting place.
Alma and Van Buren are both most.
Hi, Joanne.
Also, over with y'all, you know, city behind rooms,
Huh?
city behind They're both the same building.
Yes, it was the same church.
Yeah. You come down here.
Did you?
Oh, really? At this church? I'll be darned.
Matter of fact, I came down here, wanted for sure afraid to ask me to get married. So what? Tina. Called me up and Tina said, she'd come, she was afraid to ask you. Well, I
Mary's
didn't
afraid to ask
really-
anybody?
Well, then, I could really look at church of the
Yeah.
I said, what's the fastest way to get there? It's been years since I've been here. I mean, I'm a teenager.
Yeah, yeah.
Used to go to Rough Hole. And she said to take the exact interstate, myself out. And that's the next
I
one.
think, oh, shh. Yes, ma'am? I'm sitting there at the city council.
Yeah.
I know. But Gary had asked that, since they're gonna do the ordinance, the first reading and stuff, to be here, and you know me, true blue Odie. Well, I told Gary, because he said he'd have Jim come out, and I said, Gary, I don't mind meeting him out here. So if he's ready, you want me to call Jeff? Okay. Yeah, well, I've already fed and stuff tonight, so. No, let me tell you. Well, he's trying to make up the story, I'm sure. He's had this dog for a couple of weeks. Apparently somebody did dump it. He's had it in his pen. It was pretty bad shape when he got it. It's beautiful now. I mean, it's a gorgeous dog. His daughter even, Kevin Carty put it on Facebook. Whose dog was this? And Kelsey, his daughter, even put on there, oh, that's Dad's new dog. I mean, it had a harness, it had a collar and all this stuff. Well, it got out of his pen. So when the boys picked it up, Jeff got a hold of Todd and said, oh, well, I would just hush. I would just keep it till I could find it a home. Well, it's cut it. And he said, I didn't want to see it.
All right.
But anyway, so that's why I called Gary today. I said, okay, what do you want me to do?
Okay, well,
I can't even get the chair.
you might as well just get up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're in Bobby's chair.
Oh, yeah.
Move us around every time.
No wonder I'm trying to make a chair appear. I'll sit in your arm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I thought I'd let you get settled in. real
I have a hard enough time anyway.
good.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I was telling you those horses and stuff.
Well, that is,
I was out there sewing. Oh, yeah, well, the curtains on the front, so ripped up and stuff. Well, I got one side. And the other side.
Okay, well, I have my ears about out.
I got all the pipes cut and they're all up.
So I didn't know, and I didn't know how many that you had.
I got the-
Yes, I did.
And I noticed down the bottom of the place for
I got that one.
No, I just got it today.
I had to take it off, so I put it on the roof thing because it's too hard to put it on. I need the air going through. It was hot. I mean, it was icky hot. Yeah.
I don't say a lot.
Yes, one, six, barely.
May not be on.
I'll see no lights on down here.
There's no light.
Good reason. Between 6 and 7.
Ain't on.
He was kind of worried about sitting there.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Oh, y'all got your new magazine?
I have. It's awesome.
Theirs put us on the map, hasn't it?
And that there is, going around on Facebook, there's a digital component to that.
There's video.
It's wonderful to do.
Yeah, they really
opened it up. Look.
I have not had time to
There's
read
a
it. I
big
didn't
one.
get
I
it.
just got it today and I've been on the road.
I'm sure it's good too, but I really enjoyed the digital
Yeah.
short of it.
Well, you have to read it. It's just
Good. I'll be sure to read it.
I got the roof put over the little hallway.
They didn't know about Mulberry, they do that.
Exactly.
And the roof put up. Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Yep. I know. Yeah.
Can you hear us out there?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
See how loud you
Test,
And
test.
his lovely better half. I think,
try to get.
Test. Test, I can hear.
Yeah, okay.
so. I hear you.
1, 2, test, 1, 2, you're all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Here you are, just fine.
good deal. Well,
Sounds
try to
different.
use,
It does.
turn it on.
He's give out, didn't he? It's not making a difference.
We'll turn it off. Okay. You're right here at the
Speaker.
You're mighty loud, though.
Really good.
I can really hear you.
Yeah.
We'll turn you down. You're right from these speakers.
Yes. I need to go nappy for
Turn it back on.
3 days.
Turn it back on.
Oh, hey,
Turn it
can you
on.
hear me? Just watch.
Well,
Can you hear me? Yes, he does. He's
All right, now they probably can.
Yeah.
That's right, can.
Yeah, that's why he's okay. Yeah.
Now,
And now, hi, are you having, can you hear me?
and now, what's the one that there, you're almost like it off.
Love you.
Did you get this today? Oh, print several.
Oh, on our side of town.
Kim, is that a new copy?
Yes, did you not get yours in the email? Okay, I'll print you
I
one.
didn't see it.
Okay, I'll print you one off.
64 in Mary's Lane.
How many people do you have?
Are you printing them at home?
Well, I just printed one. I tried to print one at the church, but it was messing
I
up.
don't think,
You know the big picture did you turn in? It's been redone. They cut down a bunch of trees here. That's their house.
How you doing, sir? Good, how you doing? Doing fine, thank you. Good.
Have your ears been burning?
I hope so. You've been talking about you bad. That's nothing awful.
Okay. Yes, let me get the chocolate lab that's up there. Fill the table.
It is.
He was gonna get it tonight, but he stuck it because I was gonna be mad that it was 7. And so- So he called me and I just said,
Which you did. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we saw it now, yeah.
I don't know, you don't need to be going out at 9 o'clock tonight. But if you do go out there, do not overbury it, do not over stuff that's hanging up on the inside.
Yeah, I ain't going out there.
Okay, but I will tell you, because I did the harness off the dog and it's hanging there.
I don't know what you got to do. I don't want to go in there.
That's right.
I've got my other dumpster coming today, my last one. So we're gonna be down there tomorrow cleaning up your yard.
Okay, good deal, because I've used all that I need. It's a shame we can't give that fencing to somebody.
Probably, yeah. I got that, yeah.
I know. I could put it on Facebook for you and move home.
That'd be sure it's all right, yeah. I'm gonna touch my ears tomorrow, get done. I may take a couple of days
I
off.
put that up there for Brandon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have 7 o'clock, and at this time, I will call the Mulberry City Council to order. If you'll stand, we'll have opening prayer and pledge allegiance. Father in heaven, we do thank you so much, Lord, for another day that you've given us to enjoy, a day that you've blessed us, and we thank you for that. Thank you for all that you do for us. Lord, we know that we just have so many things that we want to just talk to you about. We want to ask you to be with our law enforcement, our first responders, our firefighters, and our military, those that out there day in and day out, 24/7 are giving of their time and their talents to bring us and give us peace and security. So we pray your blessings upon them. Thank you, Lord, for our council. Thank you for the citizens of Mulberry. I pray, Father, that you would protect us, keep us all in your watch care. I pray, Father, that as we do the business of the city of Mulberry, that we do it with honor and integrity. And I pray that you'd use us, everyone, to bring glory to Christ, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
justice.
Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Monica, would you do roll call, please?
Wilma Peavy? Yes. Bobby Tweedy?
Here.
Sheila Trent? Here. Stacy Montz? Kimberly Bruce?
Here.
Jimmy Moore? Carla Sutherland? Here. Mayor Baxter?
Here. We do have 4 council members here. That is a quorum. So we will continue on. The next order of business is approval of consent agenda, September minutes and financial statements that were mailed to each person. Y'all have any comments, questions, corrections, additions, anything to those?
Make a motion to accept those.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not,
Bobby.
Yes.
Sheila. Yes. Wilma.
Yes.
Kim. Yes.
next we'll go to departmental reports. Our first departmental report is Public Works, Mr. Jim Julian. Mr. Jim Julian, would you come to the podium and give your report, please?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Good evening.
Evening.
How's everyone?
All right.
Everything's going good in my group. Everybody said the city's pretty clean. Had a decent cleanup. My guys are getting it done. We're down to the end of the mowing and just getting ready to go into the holidays, we hope. Is there any questions that anyone has of me?
I'll bring it up at the end.
Okay. Anyway, nothing on the straight down the paper, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next departmental report is our police department, and Sergeant McCabe is here to give the police report.
He wants his ditch clean.
Hello. Well, not much to add. I'm standing in for chief, but for the month of September, we had 170 calls, 20 tickets, 2 parking tickets, 12 felony arrests, 6 misdemeanor arrests, 7 warrants, and 433 building checks. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Next report is our fire department report. And don't see anyone on the fire department here. So I will read, in the month of September, the fire department responded to 1 fire, 12 rescue and emergency medical service responses, 1 good intent call, and 1 false alarm and false call for 15 responses in the fire department. Any questions, comments? If not, we'll go to the next item of business, which is old business. First, old business is the proposed amendment to the dog ordinance. Did y'all get that? Y'all got all that?
Right.
Okay, this is what that Sheila Trent that brought before the council. And so, Monica, could you read this ordinance to 2025 for the council?
City of Mulberry, Arkansas, ordinance number 2020-05, an ordinance regulating the keeping of animals within the city of Mulberry, repealing conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. Whereas the City Council of the City of Mulberry deems it advisable to update its ordinances regarding the keeping of animals within the city in order to protect the safety and welfare of its citizens. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of Mulberry, Arkansas as follows. No person shall own, keep, or harbor any animal within the city unless such animal has reasonable and adequate access to food, water, and shelter. No dog shall be chained or staked to a fixed point. Dogs shall be kept in an enclosure or by a trolley system, so placed that the animal may not intrude on other property, whether public or private, and provide adequate room for normal postural adjustments, exercise, and access to water, food, and shelter. The area where any animal is confined must provide proper and adequate drainage. Section 3A, the provisions of this ordinance shall be enforced by the Mulberry Police Department and by the city attorney upon receipt of a complaint or violation observed by them. B, no person shall interfere with, hinder, or harass the Mulberry Police Department or its officers in the performance of their duties or seek to release any animal in the custody of the department except as herein provided. C, the police department is hereby authorized to issue citations to any person for violation of any provision of this ordinance. Such citation shall designate the offense charged and shall require the person so charged to appear before the Mulberry Municipal Court or successor court on a date certain to answer the charges therein contained. D, any person violating this ordinance shall be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor and upon conviction shall be punished by a fine of not less than $50 nor more than $500. And if such violation be continued, each day's violation shall be a separate offense. The maximum fine per day for a continuing violation shall be $250. For second and all subsequent violations of this ordinance in any 12-month period, the minimum fine shall increase by $50 up to the maximum amount allowed of $500. In addition to the punishment provided in paragraph D of this section, the court may impose additional conditions that must be satisfied by the owner of the animal. Section 4, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed.
Okay, this is the first reading of this ordinance. And so therefore there'll be 2 other readings of this ordinance, so there's not an emergency clause in here. So this is, there's, we defer a little bit to you. Well, we don't need a vote on this to have another reading. We just need to have the first, this is the
That's
first
correct.
reading. So this is the first reading, and we can discuss this. Next month, we'll have another reading, and we can further discuss it. And then the third final reading, we'll vote on it. Okay? So, does this right here, it just addresses that one issue that you addressed. It doesn't change anything with the other orders or anything. But that section 2 just addresses, does that address what you brought?
Yes, yes, it does.
So this is, like I said, this is the first reading of it. And think about it, discuss it, talk about it, and we'll have another reading next month. Okay? The next thing I want to add in the old business that we talked about before is we brought back up with, from the highway department. The highway department needed a resolution from the city about Silver Bridge. And I would like for Monica to read this resolution and see if it expresses the desire of the council.
Multitasking. City of Mulberry, Arkansas, resolution number 2020-11, a resolution authorizing the city of Mulberry to accept ownership of historic bridge number 13091, Mulberry River Bridge, aka Silver Bridge, and authorizing the mayor and recorder treasurer to execute necessary documents to complete the acquisition. Whereas the city of Mulberry has been identified by RDOT Historic Bridge Analysis Committee as the preferred recipient for historic bridge number 13091, Mulberry River Bridge, aka Silver Bridge. Whereas the city council believes the acquisition of historic bridge is in the best interests of the city of Mulberry, Arkansas, provided that grant funds can be acquired for the costs of erection and relocation. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Mulberry, Arkansas as follows. Section 1. The Mulberry City Council authorizes the mayor and recorder treasurer to acquire on behalf of the city the above referenced historic bridge number 13091, provided that the city obtains sufficient funding from third parties to erect the bridge within 3 years from acquisition. Section 2. The city council's approval is explicitly conditioned upon the city's ability to secure third-party funding, i.e. grants, donations, fundraising, etc., to pay the costs of erection in the new location within 3 years of receipt of the bridge, such that the city itself is not required to appropriate money towards the project. Section 3. Should the bridge relocation not be completed, the bridge shall be returned to the state of Arkansas or other designated entity. Section 4. The mayor and recorder treasurer are hereby authorized to execute the necessary documents to carry out the provisions of this resolution.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve resolution 202011?
I make a motion to approve resolution 202011.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Council ready to vote?
Bobby?
Yes.
Sheila? Yes. Wilma?
Yes.
Kim? Yes.
I have a question. Should I ask it during the discussion? I'll find out later.
Next, on the order of, is going to new business, and this is ordinance 2020-04. Monica, would you read this ordinance 2020-04?
Ordinance 2020-04, an ordinance to amend ordinance numbers 2017-06, setting rates charged for solid waste collection and other purposes. Whereas it has been determined that the solid waste rates need to be amended in accordance with contract rate increase. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Mulberry, Arkansas, Section 1, that Section 2A of Ordinance 2017-06 be amended to read as follows. Monthly charge for collection and disposal of solid waste shall be $14.50. Section 2. Ordinance number 2017-06 as amended hereby shall be and remain in full force and effect. Section 3. That the provisions of this ordinance are separable, and if a section, phrase, or provision shall be declared invalid, such declaration shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. Section 4. That all ordinances and resolutions and parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 6. The rate increases in this ordinance shall go into effect immediately upon the completion of water meter reading for the November billing cycle, such that all solid waste billed for the November 2020 billing cycle shall be billed at the new rates provided by this ordinance. This ordinance is necessary to immediately secure adequate funding for the provision of solid waste services to the citizens of Mulberry, without which the health of the environment and citizenry may be at risk, such that an emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance being necessary for the public welfare shall be in full force and effect prompt and after its passage, approving and posting. And that is the emergency clause, sorry.
Before we go further, it didn't say in there that where it changed from 13.25 to 14.50, which was $1.25, which is what the council was briefed on. That is the amount of the increase that the contractor increased it of their contract back in 1st September. So this is an ordinance, and it has an emergency clause that requires review.
I propose to read the title only.
You make a motion for the
Yes, I do.
second reading, title only. Motion's been made second, we have second reading, title only. Motion's been made second.
Bobby,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Wilma. Yes. Kim. Yes.
Okay,
Ordinance number 2020-04, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2017-06, setting rates charged for solid waste collection and other purposes.
motion for third,
I move that we do away with the full reading and just have the title only.
title only. There's been a motion made for, the suspended rules and, have the third final reading of the title.
I'll second. Bobby,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Wilma. Kim. Yes.
Ordinance 2020-04, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2017-06, setting rates charged for solid waste collection and other purposes.
Okay, is there a motion for?
It's my understanding that we would have the option of having trash cans supplied by them with this new,
Bobby, I can't hear.
okay. The new ordinance allows us to have trash cans from the company at no extra cost.
That's what the letter that he gave, that we handed out stipulated, yes it did.
Well, they told us that, but we hadn't got anything said, per se, but we can't hold you to that.
Because he had written that out.
Okay.
He had a written statement saying.
Okay.
Like one trash can or two trash cans, or how many trash cans are like?
Well, my understanding is the one,
Okay.
it's a 96 gallon trash can. So, large size. And he was, scheduled to be here on, last month
Right.
to bring that and show that to the council.
Right.
And, he hasn't done that.
Right.
We can bring him.
Those that choose not to do this, they're still allowed the same number of trash cans that we've always had.
Right, that's in the contract right now,
Okay.
is that, same number of what it is. That's what's in the contract right now.
All right.
So they can request a trash can or they don't have to use a trash
Well, I don't know, we have to,
can? Okay.
we have to
Because
clarify
96
that.
gallon is pretty big.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
about the elderly trying to get that,
Right,
down there. So, I mean, I see trash can would be amazing because it would clean up a lot of the trash bags sitting on the
There's
side
a
of the
lot of
road.
trash just set out.
But, we got, you worry about the ones that can't actually.
Right.
that was
That
in the
trash.
statement that, any handicapped or elderly, that they would physically go get the trash can
Okay,
and pull it out in the street for them. That's part of his,
Okay.
but we
I
have
was
no
on the
choice
same
on
page
that.
on that. I thought.
we have,
That's a good
we
thing.
have no choice.
Right, because it's in the contract right now.
Because originally they was gonna charge us $1.07 a month for those trash cans.
Right.
When we first put this over.
Exactly.
So actually what we're doing, we're just really paying for the trash cans, basically, what he was originally gonna give us,
Well,
Well, I think the
Okay.
the
contract,
contract, this raise had nothing to do with the trash.
yes.
Well, I
it had
realize that, but they
increase.
did throw it in.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Right, okay.
right. Yes.
Well, I don't have that much trash, so
Well, you
that's
can
why I
easily-
keep, yeah, that's why I keep.
I just wanna make sure they still
Right,
keep the same conditions that we have now.
right.
Did we get a motion in a second? Okay, we need a motion in a second.
I make a note.
I second.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Can we have them come back next month and talk to us about the trash can?
Yes, Monica, would you put that to send Justin Fitzgerald an email? The council requesting to be here at next council meeting.
And also, Gary, do they provide, are they the one that provides the larger dumpsters, like different size larger dumpsters?
They do. They do. Cards provides those larger dumpsters around the city that we have.
And tell me this, if, like, for example, the church, I'm thinking of that, we have one now, but it's with another company.
Right, because our commercial businesses have the option to contract separately, because they have different sizes of dumpsters. Some may have 2 yard, 4 yard, 6 yard, different, so they contract individually without going to the city. So they may contract with cars, or they could contract with waste management, or trash may, or some other place.
Well, will they pay, will, say the church, will they pay the $14.50 for this, plus then they rent their own trash? How's that gonna work?
How's the billing on that? Let Monica explain that.
No, they're a commercial, they're considered a commercial account. They aren't charged sanitation on their water bill. The church contracts with a sanitation company for their services. It's not part, they don't pay that on the sanitation, on the bill.
So the church would still pay, the $14.50?
No,
No,
they
they
don't
don't
pay
pay
it all.
anything.
Okay.
Church does not pay anything for, this
Trash.
trash, because they contract separately.
I had to look, I was told that we pay whatever it is per year.
If that's the case, they just need to contact the water department.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Bobby,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Wilma.
Yes.
Kim. Yes.
Now we have an emergency clause, and we have to vote on the emergency clause. Correct, Monica?
That's correct.
We have a motion to approve the emergency clause.
I move that we approve the emergency clause.
Any discussion?
Bobby,
Yes.
Sheila,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
The next item on the new business here, the community center we're not here tonight to discuss that, so we go to the next one. And this is a discussion of proposed property donation to the city. Y'all have that resolution 2020-12 in front of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Monica, do you want to read that resolution before we have any discussion?
Well, but somehow I got off without, I'll still be sitting on my desk. So let me borrow one
It's on the
here, please.
last.
Forgive me, Kim, for coming up here without my mask.
I turned the other way.
Jumped up and I apologize for that. Okay, City of Mulberry, Arkansas, resolution number 2020-12. The resolution accepting a deed of dedication from Tara Rochelle Wilson and Paul Shannon Metters, trustees of the Paul and Wanda Metters Irrevocable Living Trust dated August 27, 2020, for property to be used for public purposes in the city of Mulberry, Arkansas. Whereas the city of Mulberry, Arkansas has adopted a plan for use of real property owned by the city of Mulberry. Whereas Paul T. Metters and Wanda Lou Metters desire to dedicate the property to the public for use as a senior housing or other public purposes with a plan for its naming and use and development. Whereas the public use of the property would greatly benefit the city of Mulberry, Arkansas and its citizens. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Mulberry, Arkansas as follows. Section 1. The City Council hereby accepts the property described in the dedication deed attached as Exhibit A hereto and acknowledges the restrictions and obligations imposed in said deed for the perpetual public benefit, naming and desired development of the property. Section 2, the City Council hereby authorizes the mayor and clerk to execute any documents necessary to accept the property.
Monica, before we have a vote in second, before we have discussion, can I do an explanation? Okay. Just, I want to make sure that everyone, I'm going to account for everybody, but if you look at that, I want to make sure you look at the property of where this is being discussed. Here it is.
Yeah, right there.
That's the lot. That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't know.
We're talking about public housing.
Got a barn.
That's a lot.
But I wanted to show you, this is something strictly whether you want to accept this or not. But the diagram shows on the bottom part of that on the left side of the bottom part joins area agency on agent property. So that section joins the area agency on agent property. And then that part that's like cut out there, it's just that one house. And then right to the bottom of that property also, because the area agency and agent property goes all the way out to Alma Avenue, straight out. And then property to the left is the property that joined where the, it goes all the way out to 6th Highway. That used to be Sam Mountain property, over through that area. That's, so that gives you an idea. The other sheet that I passed out to you shows what the courthouse has on the value of the property and the assessed value on it. So, Mr. Meadows contacted me, came to me, and said that they wanted to give the property, to donate the property. And because, quite frankly, I've not been inside the structure, but it looks like the house probably needs to be removed. It's a rock house. So it would probably be, a good expense there to get that done. I think it shows in there, it's like, is it 1.6 acres? I think that's what it says.
Yeah.
1.6
Yes.
acres in the property. So it's, if it's something that council wants to deal with, or if you say, no, we'd rather them dispose of it some other way, that's strictly whatever the council desires to do. You want to accept the donation, if you accept the donation, then it comes off the tax rolls because it goes into the city. Within the city would have the responsibility of maintaining it, either repairing the house for someone to live in, rent it, or removing the structure and for future housing. And if they stipulated they want it to be something associated with senior adult housing. And
Is that the only structure? There's nothing else there? There's no barns or anything?
there's no other structure.
No other structure there?
Like I say, I've not been in the building. It's something, if you want to consider it, if you want to table it, if you want to think about it, there's nothing this is that we have to act on right now, but strictly, it's been presented to us, and so we brought a resolution to you. If you want to act on it, if you don't act on it, and so that's kind of where we stand right now.
Could we see how much it would cost to remove that building before we?
Sure. We can do whatever council wants to do.
It was talking about the homestead credit. Isn't that if someone lives there? I mean, we wouldn't get homestead
No.
credit.
No,
We'd have to pay
you
them.
wouldn't be qualified.
Right. Would we have to pay full tax?
Well, we're, no.
Okay. I was just curious.
Only we pay like if we rented it out, we had an income off of it.
Okay.
We used it as an income producing.
I feel like we need to go through other entities before we accept it.
I do too.
So, do I have a motion to table it?
I have,
Motion made to table this.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Table, is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Sheila?
Yes.
Wilbur?
yes,
Kim? Yes.
Okay,
we need to send this back over there.
let's, go over this thing that I've got written down here. You received a sheet here that says wanted sweets and treats.
Yes.
That's from the Alma Chamber of Commerce, Alma Area Chamber of Commerce, which Mulberry is a member. They're looking for donations or candy to give out to the elementary schools in the 3 school districts. That's Mountainburg, Alma, and Mulberry. So it'll be given out to the elementary schools in those 3 school districts. So they're asking for donations of candy that shows how to do it, drop off. If the person made a check, they just make it out to the Alma Area Chamber of Commerce with a note saying for candy donation. Then you all saw on your table there, the one on issue 1 on the roads, and that was put out not by a government agency, but by private, so that's for your information. The other card that I gave you, I want to bring that to your attention, that this comes from the Cole County Circuit Clerk's office. This is what is recommended, that to keep your home safe with property fraud. It's a fraud alert. It's a free service that the Circuit Clerk's office offers. You can go to that website that is listed on there, and what they do is if someone is looking at your deed, or they think there's a fraud on someone is trying to do something with your deed, then you will be notified and alerted. And it's really easy to do. I've gone on there, the website myself, and it's easy. It says click the recording alert tab. Just click that tab, and you type your name in there, and then they'll send you an email back. You put your email address, and then send you an email back and say, yes, you're in the system now. If anything comes up, and I did it for my personal stuff. I did it for the city of Mulberry. And so we do it for business or for sort of bring that to your attention. We'll be getting more information out about that to public. Then I wanted to mention our fall cleanup last couple weeks has done really well. And I want to give some kudos to Kim and Jim, Julian, for that. We had, Jim gave me this information, 8 dumpsters were picked up. The cards, we had 1 from the county, and we had 3 metal. For a total of 12 dumpsters load of things in this cleanup, which is really big. And that does not include the electronics, the tires, and the other hazardous waste that we collect and put in the thing. And thanks, Jim and Kim for that. So we had a great fall cleanup. I want to mention to you that our court clerk has moved on to another job, and so Desiree has got a job in January. So we're in the process of interviewing and looking for a replacement for district court clerk. I want to give a report on the food pantry. There's going to be a distribution tomorrow morning. We've got things from the food bank in Fort Smith that we brought in. So that has been going very well. The Susie Ferguson is working that real hard right now after Alice left, so that's going good. And then we're going to be having some more things. USA Truck had contacted me, said that they had some items that non-perishable that we're going to be getting also, but they will not be distributed tomorrow, but that'll be later today.
That way in the morning or you?
Tomorrow morning.
At 11.
11?
11.
I wanted to mention about, there's been questions come up about the Christmas with the badge, and that's going to be going well. Our police department's going to be working in conjunction with the school, with the Angel Tree. They're going to get more detailed information out, but this week, I think maybe tomorrow, we're getting 60 turkeys that's coming in. We had to accept them now in order to get them, because we couldn't get them later. And so we have Gentleman Ron and Millsap is going to store those for us. We're very thankful that we got those coming. I wanted to mention that on the Crawford County, this is the 200th year anniversary for Crawford County. And if you would go and look, there's a video that the county's put out that is on YouTube. It's just Crawford County, Arkansas 200th anniversary. If you look that up, you'll be able to see about Crawford County and our towns. I wanted to mention also that our city is doing well and responsible in wearing masks and social distancing. As of today, there are 6 active cases inside the city limits of Mulberry, and that we're thankful that our people are participating very well. I want to give out some of these on go show you this. These on November the 12th at the Fair Building at Percy Park from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It's Thursday night. There's going to be active shooter threat response training. We've had people that have gone to this in conjunction with our police department, people that have gone and seen this presentation by Ed Mott, and they say he's the best in the country. And it'll be something very good. And since we have a large area, we can make sure that we abide by all CDC guidelines and with social distancing and the wearing face masks. So I'm going to bring that out. We'll be getting that out. You'll be seeing flyers around town, and we'll help promote that. I did want to tell you that on our vehicles, we have sold 2 of our trucks, and Monica has ordered 2 replacements for those vehicles. And that has gone very well. So we are in the process there.
Did you get what we was asking for them?
Yes. Yes, I think it was for both vehicles, it was the
original act.
the original price, right? Original price. All right, let's go around and take.
Yes, I've got, since everybody knows Monday last month, I have several things
Yes.
to talk about. I was approached by a resident, and I actually talked to a couple on 9th Street about putting a speed bump on that, road. Because as we know, we did have someone who was hit on that road, and there's several children. So what would be the process to do something, to do the speed bump on the road? Do we need to have the police monitor it for a while, or do we need to?
What we have done in the past other place is if all the residents on that street would petition the city and say, sign, we'd like a speed bump on our street.
Okay.
And we can have our police department then do an evaluation as they would intentionally look for speeders and position themselves and evaluate for a period of time. And Sergeant McCabe may want to address that. Sergeant McCabe, do you want to come up and talk about any of the, monitoring speed for a particular street that a citizen had requested to the council? The speed bumps have been put out there, so if they do the petition, then what would be your procedure for monitoring that, say like in a certain period of time for 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, whatever?
I've never came into any contact with anything like that. I'd have to discuss it with you and chief. We've never had anybody petition something like that for a speed bump or anything, so I actually don't know what our procedure would be.
Well, we gave the same option, people brought that up on Jill Drive. It was, people, we told them, if you get, but they never come.
I just think let the
They never
residents
come.
know.
Many people
They never
do
came.
not want it, that's the problem.
Well, and what, the residents, after we told them to do that, I talked with one of the residents that was wanting that on Joe Drive, and they said, well, the police have been monitoring this, it's really slowed down, and I don't think we need it now. So, if we can do this, we can tell them the same, we can monitor it, and we can get a report from our police department, on activity on that street.
Yeah,
At a
well,
particular time.
I can go ahead and issue out an extra patrol for it now, and then just have the guys.
It might be something that we could do at a later date, maybe when COVID kind of settles down at the community building for the public with Michelle Bonnie, have her come down and do the presentation like she did, like we did at the church. Because, she went through and set up the whole, showed you how to do, how you can get your products, and then it doesn't cost that much to do it for the residents to do it. You can cut down on, food scraps in your trash and stuff like that. So but it's very interesting. We already compost, and it's good dirt to use for your plants and stuff like that. So that might be something I would like to see about doing that. Maybe after COVID, we need to let that settle down so people we might have a bigger crowd for that. You already talked about cleanup day, which I have to say we have some great city employees. They just do whatever needs to be done. It was, if something needed to be, let's move this trailer, take it on down, bring another one back. They all were great on cleanup day. And the
Let
only,
me add something that I was really impressed with both locations, because there was someone that didn't understand they got some aerosol, got some different things that could not be, so they handled a situation that
yes,
was
They kind of
volatile,
it
and
did.
then
Yeah.
it went to the recycling, and the same thing happened, and it was handled very well. So I commend everyone for handling that situation very well. And someone that didn't realize they couldn't take some stuff in, you have to add that.
And most people were really good about that. And we also, if they come up and they had a huge trailer, just a little trash, and most of it was recyclables, instead of unloading the whole thing, then we would kind of have them go ahead and go down to the recycling center with that. We'd get the trash off, go in the dumpster, and no one had a problem doing that. They went ahead and took it down, so we wouldn't have to handle it twice. So,
Right.
it was a really good day. On Old Graphic Road and Highway 64, the signs are backwards.
That's already been submitted to the.
Has it? Okay, I saw it, yeah, okay, so that. And the last thing, and I don't assume that we're having, I think most cities, there's no restrictions on trick or treating or anything like that. People, if they wanted, well, I think most cities are just letting them.
Right, we didn't have any restrictions. In that.
And I think that is all I have, thank you.
I've got two or three things. Understand that we leave our internet open, like library, it goes 24/7, is that correct?
That's my understanding. I don't know.
Okay. What I'm asking is, instead of having people lingering around on Main Street using the internet, why don't we designate one area for them to come and use this internet? We have some from the lodge that does come down, and you know, most people wonder, what are they doing there? Well, they're not doing anything except using their phones and stuff like this. If we're gonna leave that open, why don't we designate an area there, a parking area or whatever, a designated area for using the internet after hours?
Do you have a recommended place for that designation?
Well, we just have to look it over and see what'd be appropriate for that, but it would keep just being everywhere in that area, you know? And I know they're not doing anything, you know what I mean? But it would just be better if we had one area that they could come and use it. And I think that's the only place in town that leaves it on, to my knowledge. Now.
I think that's more than that.
Well, I don't either. And it is good that we have something like that. It really is. That was- So we might look into that and just see what we can do. And see if there's, you know, a better way of doing it or whatever. We have a problem with a drainage ditch on 10th Street that runs north and south. It's on the west end, on the west end of 10th Street, 11th Street. I'll get the street straight on that. It is filled in. It's what it's done. It's our main drain that carries about 90% of our water from that end of town. And it definitely needs to be cleaned out before these heavy rains or whatever happens.
I've already told Jim Junior, our public works director, to go all the way from the property line there on the north side, where it comes out of that pond, all the way to where it goes underneath the road at Elm Avenue. So that area, is that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You and I discussed it, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, so that is,
Well, that's always been a problem.
Yes,
When
it
we
is.
get heavy rains.
get that cleaned out from that entire route.
All the other dishes look good. They've done such a good job of cleaning everything. It's, you know,
Maybe
we
working
don't have any other problems. That's all I've got.
I had a citizen that's wanting to know about a speed bump on Church Street. That's why, because the traffic, they just fly by, especially, well, it's been many, many years since you had to stop at the end of it, the south end. Remember, there used to be a stop sign down there, so they had to make a curve. And so they didn't fly quite as bad, you know, because they had to make that curve that goes by the post office. And now then, that doesn't seem, it's just straight away. And it wouldn't be so bad. My neighbor right across the street, and he has some little girls. And if they hit one of them, it would be horrible, you know. And so I had a citizen ask me about speed bump for Church Street too. And so
Did you say at one time there was a stop sign that's not there any
at
longer?
right, it's,
At what's intersection of Church and what?
okay, you know, the curve that used to not have a stop sign. And so they would come down Church Street and they didn't have to stop to go to Main Street. Do you remember what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about.
What intersection, what church? I mean, what street? Like you've got, so you've got,
You know where the
Fifth
post,
Street
you know
is-
where the post office
Comes out
is.
from the post office, which is coming here.
okay,
That
you're
used,
talking about down in Fourth Street. Fourth Street. So there,
I just know that, you know where the Reeves place is.
Yes.
They used to have to stop there.
all the way down by the railroad tracks.
No,
Back up where the post office comes in.
where
Just-
Bobby Reeves.
Bobby,
Robbie
okay,
Reeves, there used to be a stop sign there.
okay,
And so
that's
the
Third Street.
right of way, well, I don't know, but the right of way was the curve. You know, you could,
Okay.
there wasn't even stop,
So there was a stop sign at one time there at Third Street.
right in front of Bobby Reeves' house.
Okay,
I don't
right.
know what that is.
Okay, yes, that is.
But anyhow, and they used to fly by quite so bad, but when that stop sign was gone and it's a straight stretch now.
Down from the church up there all the way down.
I don't know,
Yeah,
I've never known that, when,
That's been a long time.
it's been a long time ago, but I've been here a long time.
okay. I was just thinking, I did not know of a stop sign ever being there, but there was one there at one time.
Right,
You need to take it down.
right.
So,
and then it's put at the curb.
Do you want, our police could do an evaluation
I would like to,
of,
of course, they won't speed if they see the police there, but,
well, they can park, and so our police can monitor.
right,
you know,
right. But it's from the stop sign, you know, that helps.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
Because they're going too fast.
Yes, they get to flying past my house. So, that was what I was, you know. And now that I know, I just have to get everybody to say, yeah, well, it's not above. Nope, that's it. Thank you.
And we have, what is our stipulations for the parade? Should every boat have lights, right? For our Christmas parade?
The Christmas parade, that is run by our fire department. Our fire department runs the Christmas parade. I do not know of them ever putting any restrictions or requirements on any entry into the parade at all.
But since this one's going to be at night,
But I don't know of any requirements that has ever been put on, or any required thing, or if you can talk with Jeff Marvin, the fire chief, he's in charge of that. But I do not know of any requirements or stipulations or restrictions for any entry to go on any parade that you ever had.
but we've never had a night before, have we? Have we?
It's been a long time ago. We've never said you gotta have a lights or anything like that.
I think the less restrictions you have, the more participants you
That's
have.
that's what we're at.
Right. All right. Let's see. So that last, Senate, you want to talk about, that 600 club? 600 club. Would you come to the podium?
What I came in and talked about tonight is, on your city council, you get $100 a month. And my thinking is, if everybody donate that $100 back to the city a month and start a club, every month you could buy signs for the city, something for the park, something for the dog pen, something of that nature that would give back to the community every month. It'd be basically giving yourself a $600 grant every month for y'all to decide January what we're gonna do in February, what we do next month. That way, every month you can have your special project and do something like that. You buy equipment, like I said, for the park, paint curbs, buy speed bumps, whatever you need at the time to fit the issue or something you want to do every month, and just get back to the community. I brought this little sign in for Jim today. This is the city. This is a tiny example of what something you can do with it. This is for the city park. Because I run into a lot of people, even in town, that have no clue we have a disc golf course. So as you're passing by, a lot of people carry disc golfs and basketballs in the trunk of their car. So in the long run, this goes out toward the road. As you're driving by, you think, they got disc golf, I want to pull in. Because I've been to the Alma Trail and stuff. You say, y'all ever played Mulberry? And they're like, we didn't know they had one. But this right here kind of draws your eye to the part that says walking control at the top. This right here, part around, I think, this part is about 30, this is about 40, so about 70, 80 bucks for that. Altogether, but this is the extra nice frame, big line, nice. But once you get stuck in the ground, it should pretty well stay. But that's just some of the projects that you can do around town, just window dressing, like those windows, you have curtains made, put it on kind to cover up what's behind the windows. Such as that, just little projects like that you could do, like I say, you call it 600 Club, the Force 600, or whatever you want to call it, 600 good doers, or whatever. Jim, there's your sign for the park.
Oh, thank you. Very nice.
Oh.
All right. That's all we have. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, we got a lot of people that come by that don't even know we got this dog. They see the one out there, and they think they're practice.
On your
Yep.
street signs?
Yes.
Wherever you want, everywhere you want. Put it on. I probably can't put a station with,
Depending on where it's at, where you talking about it.
Just leave it a little bit. My girlfriend lives there. So they have just 30 miles. Street signs, 30 miles.
Oh, did you? That's good.
I believe it's 25, but the other signs kind of go with where it's like, so we have two main highways that run through the city. So if they run markets.
Yeah, the freight's out.
But they're marked towards.
Yeah.
But I believe that we have all, every street sign, unless, you know, you have, well, even wire.
Actually, like a car goes on. Election year.
Yeah,
There's tons of yards around here.
I'm just curious.
yeah. Yeah, that's about it as far as. But I know county roads, I know that for a fact, I know county roads as well.
That's there, I think, to draw people
Yeah, because.
attention toward the road, I mean.
Yes, sir.
So when you get off the interstate, that's county road.
Khakis.
And the sign, they actually put the sign
Like
before
I
the
say,
bridge
I think
They
that's.
did.
that says 35.
I've been how much stuff before, some guys just played in a tournament, they stopped by how much for you? And I asked them, have you ever been to Alabama? I mean, Mulberry, and they said, no. They got this stuff for us.
Yep.
What? In long term, they're like all rubber county back together. Now it's got one. Out there.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I know I've taken
We
people
got.
out. Then one day I came down to stop sign.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
No, and that's,
But
Once you go,
you know, they have like.
you don't see it before you
Golf and trails, follow.
it's before you get.
Well, you do the same thing with this stuff.
It does.
It's all do the dip.
yeah, so that's why we actually, a lot of roads do that.
Can we get one of these by your houses?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, please.
Your mom be proud.
Now, now, if I get your house, I think you already have one.
Probably. Yeah, I do. I got a, pumpkin
That's
nursery.
Georgia Road, right? You're going through the interstate?
Yeah, yeah.
There's one.
And now they've got more time to do it.
35. Yeah, but the sign is,
And that's.
I'm starting to get a group discount, I think, at Tacky.
Started the pandemic has skyrocketed because
yeah.
nobody's got time to do anything else.
I did, yes, sir, I did. Yeah.
And it's real heavy to design too.
Oh, yeah.
That's.
Well, yeah, you don't know if you're going down until you just the bridge.
Thank you, Stud.
I think a lot of things like that.
You did.
They'll never get.
Like 1 month, you could buy a sign for almost every park here.
No, that's true. That's true, officer. Best be safe than sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You have a good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Professional.
Let me, go get the spray. We're gonna spray this thing down. I'll be right back.
Don't be in a hurry, Jim, because I still got a ways to go.
Okay, I ain't no hurry. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stud. I will.
Yeah.